It's been almost a month since the Orange and Blue graced the Rogers Place ice. The boys are back and are looking to build off a big win in Carolina. We get you set for the Oilers and the Ducks on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Good evening, everybody. Hope you're doing well on this lovely day, pre-spring, let's call it, as the Oil and the Anaheim Ducks go toe-to-toe for the third time this season. Tom Gazzola, Hernan, Salas with you. Matt Cassian, our game analyst, will be by in a little bit to give us game changers. Of course, GCL Diesel, presenting sponsors of the Oil Stream and providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. You can join the conversation. Hit us up on the text line, 780-218-9999. Get into the nasty chat. I saw some of you in there already. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. I saw the boys, they're talking about like record numbers. I was listening, driving around earlier today, and I think Hernan and Joaquin had some big numbers. So hit that thumbs up. If you're new to the station, welcome. And to all the nasties that have been around for a while, let's go. Let's fire it up. Let's show everybody how it's done. Be nice to your new friends, as my parents would like to say, and did used to say to my brothers and I. Edmonton, 35, 21, and 4. Anaheim, 26, 26, and 7. It is game number 61. The Oilers making moves already, picking up a pair of players from the Boston Bruins, Trent Frederic and Max Jones. Yes, it comes at the cost of some prospects and some picks, but overall, the Oilers pick up a player that, talking to people and friends from the Bruins organization today, absolutely adored Trent Frederic. Adored. And friends from the Bruins also saying, Oil Country is going to love this guy, and he just needs a chance to spread his wings and do his thing like he had for the past couple of seasons with the Bruins. Frederic a little bit banged up. The Oilers do think he will be ready to play relatively soon. And Max Jones spent the majority of the season in Providence with the Bruins farm team. Probably headed to Bakersfield, but we shall see. All right, let's bring in the Latino Heat and touch base with him. Nancito, how's the day going? How you doing today, pal?
It's good, man. Started off with a bang, cooled off.
No kidding.
Now we're getting ready for another, hopefully exciting game, because that one on, when was it? What day is it?
Saturday. Today's Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah.
That was Saturday. It's been 3 days. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm just talking to Jay. Sorry.
You tell him we're doing a show.
He says, sorry, I just got to get something done for him here. But, all in all, it's always exciting when the Oilers make a trade. The feedback was pretty positive, to be honest. Trent Frederic's a guy that I think a lot of Oilers fans kind of penciled in and said, hey, it'd be cool if they got this guy. You know what, Tom, he brings an element that the Oilers don't have, a physicality, a guy that can play, a guy who scored 35 goals in the last 2 seasons. So, he's got some offense to him. But like with Gager, we were discussing it. We were like, it's a downer because he's out, right? And I know Chris Johnson had it that he might be out till the playoffs, and then other media jumped on and said, well, it might be 10 games, another 10 games or so. So it seems like he's going to miss most of probably this month. But so we don't get to see, the fun, shiny new toy and all that fun stuff. But I don't mind this pickup. And as far as, the prospects and all that, when you're in win mode, Tom, those things, I wouldn't say they don't matter, but they don't matter as much. And the Oilers need to go for it. And I don't think they're done. I think there's more coming. And we'll see what happens here in the next 3 days. But I don't think Stan Bowman's done at all right now. What'd you think of the trade?
I liked it. I mean, he's a guy, Dusty and I were talking about it on Oil Stream yesterday. Like, hey, would we like Trent Frederic? Yes, that's exactly what they need, a little sandpaper. He is not having a great season. Just 8 goals so far this year, 15 points, 44 PIMs in 57 games, a -14 on a Bruins team that is going through a time of transition, obviously. So yeah. I like it. It seems like the right type of player that this lineup needs. It'll be a breath of fresh air for the Oilers, getting a guy like that when he is good to go. I think that's important. But now we find out, can they make a move on the back end? Can they bolster the blue line? Can they figure out what's going on with Evander Kane? What were you going to say?
How do you give up Maximus?
Yeah, that's a great point. Jasmine's here, by the way. She's going to be covering the game tonight. So, yeah, come say hi, Jazzy. There she is.
Hi, Nasties.
There you go. See, she's ready to go. She's going to meet up with Reed in about 15, 20 minutes here. So she's using the satellite studios as home base. That's what it is for EST, obviously. Awanik graciously giving up his parking stall for Jasmine. Anyway, we were just talking about it because we're like a bit surprised listening to some of the feedback about giving up too much. And I said to Jasmine, I'm like, Jasmine, I feel like the majority of Oilers fans didn't even know that a LaChance was in the organization and that they probably forgot about Max Wanner. But then I was listening to some of the texts you guys were getting on EST Afternoons. I tuned into a little bit of the Reed Wilkins show when I had a chance. And like there was pushback and like frustration. I saw a little bit on Twitter as well. And I was like, hold on a second. Are we going to be okay? Is everything okay? Because like they gave up the second rounder they got from St. Louis, because of the Broberg and Holloway offer sheets and all that. But I was like, I was surprised, but then at the same time, I took a step back and I'm like, Oilers fans getting mad just because.
How many Oiler fans have watched Maximus Wanner this year? Like seriously,
maybe 5%.
And if you have, good on you. And then I'll take your feedback. But the rest are just, it's a name. Somebody on X said that he's a can't miss prospect. Now everybody's losing their mind. So no, I think the Oilers will be fine. And listen, if these guys turn out, then we can turn out to be stud players. Then we can have the discussion. Sure. I'll be the first one to be like, hey, the Oilers messed another one up. But for now, I mean, Trent Frederic's exactly what you need. Again, the only part that really sucks is he's not ready. And I think that for Oiler fans is like, oh, why do you trade for a guy that's not even ready to play? And you're worried about the chemistry and where is he going to fit in? Is there going to be enough time? Because you can't just drop him into a playoff team, game one of the playoffs, and say go, right? Because then you're expecting bad results.
A guy who's played 50-plus games, I think you can drop into a stretch drive / playoff series easier than a guy who sat out the whole season, rehabbing multiple surgeries, and is telling you that maybe he wants to play a couple games in the regular season.
That's what I mean.
Totally mess up your cap. And then you're also wondering like how dialed in this guy is. So
Tom,
that's easier to me.
Do you feel this acquisition can lead to something happening with Kane here in terms of moving him? Because
I don't know.
They're very similar. I think Evander Kane's a better player. Like he's better offensively. He's a legit top 6 guy. But they're very similar. They bring the same thing. Like, is there anything to that? Because I know people were asking us on all the shows today, like, hey guys, does this mean Kane's on the move? Because now you're gonna have 2 guys possibly on LTIR coming in just for the playoffs or late in the season. Similar styles. Like, do you read anything into that?
I think that's that's the right question to ask. Kane is definitely available. Okay. I think we can safely say that. Like there were rumblings and, Reed had mentioned it. Maybe going into the season, Reed had said on his show, maybe this is the last we've seen of Evander Kane as an Oiler. Maybe never plays a game with them. I didn't disagree with them. I thought there was an off chance he could come back. I did know, and I did hint that they could move on from him. And then I'm just passing along the information I was given again. Ideal scenario, he comes back for playoffs, does not play in the regular season. That allows them to make a move of more significance with the cap space that they still have at the deadline, preferably a defenseman. Kane, let's say, comes back for playoffs, scores a couple goals. His value goes up. They use that modified no trade clause in the list that he provides, and they flip him in the offseason. I was told that's a best case scenario. Will that happen? I don't know. But Kane, I would say, is definitely available.
Yeah, and the picks going back, like I always want picks in the organization. I know they're not, especially for a contending team, they're not. Again, they're not the be all and all that, but you still need some. But then the retention. So Tom, you understand this probably more than I do, but people are asking why the double retention when he's going to stay on LTIR or be on IR, right? Like, was there a need for a retention here when he's a UFA after this year as well?
Okay, say that again. Sorry.
So, like, why people are asking why did the Oilers retain? Why did the other teams retain salary on him if he's going to be on LTIR?
Because if he's not on LTIR and comes back sooner,
it's $575 only.
Yeah, they're paying less. I think they're just trying to squeeze out as much potential cap space as they can. Yeah, and it came at the cost of a prospect and.
Yeah, you got to give up those picks, right? To for those people to eat that money. So
yeah,
interesting. Any thoughts on Max Jones? I mean, a guy that was a good prospect years ago. I thought he was gonna fit in that Sam Steele, those Anaheim Ducks teams that had those players that were all coming up together. But a guy that hasn't really been able to figure it out at this level. Is it just strictly Tobacco, and we'll see what happens with him? I
was told today that it's likely Tobacco, but we'll see. Okay. Depth, and again, another big body guy that can play a-hole hockey, right? That's why we like Frederic collectively, plays jerk hockey. Max Jones can do the same thing. Is he going to provide a lot of offense? Probably not. And I think it's a sign him playing in the minors for the majority of the season. Maybe he's just a depth guy, but they clearly identified him and like him, so they have brought him into the fold. All right, so keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. Cass is going to join us in a couple minutes' time here for Game Changers, and I do have a couple of texts I want to get to. I'll get to the starting lineups. And your injury report, Duffman texting in saying, no offense to Max Warner, but I didn't even know he existed. This is one of the pieces that we need, meaning Trent Frederic. Duffman, great handle, love it. Matt Hyman asking Jasmine about NBA stuff. Jasmine's liking that. She laughed. And then Peter said, is Frederic not just a more physical Fogle? I will add, I really like Frederic, and I hope that they can resign him to a reasonable number. That's from Peter. Yeah, a more physical Fogle. And there's a lot of intangibles about Fogle that people liked, and we've seen it periodically throughout the season. People texting in being like, boy, I miss Warren Fogle. Well, Frederic can score 18 goals, 17 goals in years past. He only has 8 this year, but last year in all 82 games had 18 and 22 for 40 points. Fogle just capped and topped the 40-point mark for the first time last season in his career. And then in 22-23, Frederic in 79 games, 17 goals, 14 assists for 31 points. So on the up and up until this year where he has regressed a little bit, but he's played 57 games. He's been banged up, and the Bruins haven't been as strong. So you know what, Peter, that's kind of a fair comparison. And Frederic obviously will drop the gloves. Frederic will play and bang and play. He'll get into the corners and muck it up is kind of what I would say. So
muck it up, Tommy.
Muck it up. I like it.
Sweet hair, dude.
Thank you. You can thank Chantal for this. I had a haircut finally, and she did
haircut. Look sharp.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. All right, let's get into starting lineups brought to you by South Fort Chev. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. Get to the nasty chat as well. Also, reserve your 2025 Equinox tracks and Traverse now. They won't last long. They've also got the best discounts on 2025 Silverados, and they won't be beat. See dealer for details at www.southfortchev.com. Drive a little, save a lot at South Fort Chev. For the Oilers, McDavid between Nugent-Hopkins and Hyman. Draisaitl centering Victor Arvidsson and Matt Savoy. So Savoy back in action. That's good to see. First game on home ice for the hometown kid. Adam Henrique between Matthias Janmark and Connor Brown. Kasperi Kapanen with Podkolzin and Perry on his wings. On defense, good news here. We saw these guys, Ekholm, Nurse, Kulak missed yesterday's practice. All of them will play today. Ekholm with Bouchard. Nurse is back after sitting out the last couple of games. The Oilers sent Cam Dineen back to Bakersfield. So Nurse paired up with Emerson, Kulak with Klingberg. I thought Klingberg actually had a decent game on Saturday, made some subtle little plays, confident with the puck. That's good to see. Hopefully his hips are holding up okay. And he is going to be paired up with Brett Kulak, who had an excellent game. You had him as the player of the game the other day, didn't you? Instead of Calvin Pickard, right?
Back to back, buddy.
Back to back. Jeff Skinner's out. Troy Stetcher's out. As for the Ducks, Ryan Strome between Frank Fratello and Troy Terry. Leo Carlson with Trevor Zegras and Alex Killorn. Mason McTavish with Cutter Gauthier and Sam Colangelo, Isaac Lundestrom with Ross Johnston and Jansen Harkins. The boys on the Reed Wilkins show were talking about Troy Terry only having 5 hits this year. I thought that was insane, but I was like, well, he's not the most physical player, obviously, but just 5 hits on the year. Obviously, a bigger conversation about physicality and subjectivity when it comes to hits in different arenas. Jackson Lacombe paired up with Radko Gudas, Pavel Mintyukov with Jacob Trouba, Brian Dumoulin with Drew Hellison. We anticipate Olin Zellweger and Brett Leeson being out for the Ducks. Your starting goalies for tonight, 32-year-old Calvin Pickard. He earned this start, 15-6 with a .261 GAA, .901 save percentage in 23 games this year. Pickard, 3-3 lifetime versus the Ducks, .286 GAA, .904 save percentage in the 6 games he's faced Anaheim. And then at the other end of the rink, I haven't seen confirmation, but it looks like it'll be 24-year-old Lucas Dostal, who's 17-14-5 with a .290 GAA, .910 save percentage, 1 shutout in 36 games this year. Dostal versus the Oilers had that amazing night here a couple of years ago. However, Edmonton has gotten the better of Dostal. He is 2-4 with a .404 GAA and .879 save percentage in 7 games against Edmonton over the course of his career. Jasmine out. She's going to go meet up with Reed Wilkins at the rink. I'll see her down in the press box. Let's get to the Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy injury report. At Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy, we treat you like the pros. Our multidisciplinary team includes sports medicine physicians, along with highly skilled physiotherapists, strength and conditioning coaches, and massage therapists. If you have a nagging pain you'd like to see go away, book your consultation today at www.advantagesportsmedicine.ca. For the Oil, Alec Regula, who they plucked off waivers from Boston, IR knee. Evander Kane, LTIR, abdominal surgery and knee surgery. As for the Ducks, Robbie Fabry, IR upper body. Brock McGinn, IR knee. So those are your injuries heading into tonight's action. That is the Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy injury report. All right, Matt Cassian ready to go. Tom Gazzola, Hernan Salas with you. Cass, our game analyst. Oh, he's looking snazzy with that shirt today. Very nice. Yeah, he's giving a little bob and weave with the head. I like a little shimmy and a shake. I've got a few texts to get to as well as we roll along here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Hontorio Momes texting in says, boys, the teams that make big moves never wins. Blake Coleman, Barkley, Hagel, Patrick Bruin, all unknowns until they win. Often trades for the contract bargain. This was a solid move that contenders make. Warner hopefully won't have a spot to play here after deadline or offseason anyways. LeChance, dad, works for the Devils, and he's American, not coming here. Hontorio Momes, if you're texting and driving, be safe. Pull over. Because I could patch it together. There's a few words that were misspelled. But
he's not wrong.
No, he's not wrong. No, I get it. And I saw somebody make a comparison to Michael Kesselring, like the Oilers letting go of a guy. I don't even think Kesselring was in the Oilers' plans, to be honest with you. He was kind of stuck in the muck, 10th guy on the depth chart on the blue line. And Arizona wanted him at the time, and they saw something in him, and they played him. And he has worked his butt off. I literally saw him at the Coyotes ice den in Scottsdale the last 2 summers, putting in an extra hour of work every day before the rest of the NHL guys showed up, and they would all have their skate. And it's paid off for Michael Kesselring now with Utah. All right. We're going to get to some of your questions with Cass, who's ready to go. So let's bring the big man in. Hello, Cass. Look at that shirt. You're looking... Is that festive? Is it kind of like, is it spring is here? How would you describe
it? Spring is here. Spring is here. We may see some flowers at some point. So it's a little paisley, little flowers. It's a little springtime, Tommy. A little springtime. So starting to feel good. Hopefully starting to feel good for the Edmonton Oilers too. Yeah.
I got a little bit of that. I've got some lavender going. I'm like, it's nice outside, so let's do that. I'm with you on that.
Absolutely.
All right, Cass, I know you had 2 guys in a goalie earlier today, you, Gager, and Dusty, but really quickly, just if people didn't catch it earlier in the day, your thoughts on the Oilers' move to bring in Trent Frederic, and then Max Jones as well, but more of a depth piece there, obviously. But give us your thoughts.
Yeah, well, the Frederic's, it's a depth piece as well. It addresses one of the needs that I think this team has. We've talked about it on pre and post game show. Texters have texted in. Nasties have gotten nasty on it. This team could use a little bit more jam in the bottom six. Last in league among hits, and I don't count that as like the most important stat or the only stat. But the reality is, in games, particularly so far in the regular season, when they haven't had mojo, they haven't had jam, they haven't had energy, it has fallen to Corey Perry every single time to be the guy to try to find a spark. And it sure is nice to potentially have that option. Now, he's going to be going on LTIR, so we don't know when we're going to see him. Could it be a depth piece for the playoffs? Maybe. Hopefully he's back in the lineup before then, so you can adjust and you see what you have there. But in principle, I like the trade. It wasn't dirt cheap upon further examination, but it wasn't overly expensive. And you managed to make it happen for not really that much on the cap. So not that they have any flexibility right now, but they didn't use what little flexibility they have to bring him in, which I think is a positive. So overall, I think it was a good move. I like it. Bringing a player that people hate his guts on other teams and hate playing against him. They don't have a ton of that. So to me, it was a good move. They jump early on it. The one piece, Tom, where we're going to have to wait and see is how injured is he? How long will he be out? And will we see him in the regular season?
Yeah. I was told today it might not be too long. So fingers crossed, if you're Oil Country, you want to see him kind of amalgamate with the group and find a little bit of rhythm with somebody in that bottom six. But and then Cass, I don't know if you caught it earlier, but my friends from the Bruins were all saying that they love him. Much beloved player, and he's going to be great in Edmonton is what everybody said. So very interesting to see. All right, let's get to Game Changers with our game analyst, Matt Cassian. Game Changers, as always, brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting has been a consistent top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 17 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home, community-driven. He understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. So check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Cass, I like it. I said it off the top, first time in almost a month. Welcome home.
Yeah. How about sleeping in your own bed? How about having a chance to eat some food at home, see your family, get into a regular routine at the rink? It's been a long time since a lot of these guys have been back home for a meaningful stretch of time. Connor McDavid in particular, he hasn't been home at all. And we all know when we talked at length, and everyone's talking at length about his performance the last 5 to 10 games where he just hasn't had the jam. And here's to hoping that being back home, having his heated driveways, although there's no snow on them, in his interior designer designed house. Hopefully he's relaxed and mentally there, but it's big. I mean, it's been a while since we've been able to watch a home game here in Edmonton. And for the group, I'm really hoping that walking out of Carolina with that win, even though overall it still was a horrible road trip, Tom, that it just sets the stage for them to kind of take off here at home and to give us some good hockey and string some games together, hopefully string some wins together against beatable teams. And it starts today against the Anaheim Ducks, a team that you absolutely can win against. Let's just hope that home cooking works.
I did see you talk about like the interior design at Connor's place. I did see our good friend Zia Carmelli. I think she got a sneak peek at that new bar restaurant that the McDavids are opening up, and she was talking with Lauren. She posted on her Instagram. So things were happening. They're happening. Very important. On the ice, things are important. Off the ice, business-wise, moving and shaking. I like it. So there you go. A little update on the other side. If you're looking for a new place to hang out, go to, I think it's called Trove. I can't remember. I think it's Trove, but it's happening. It is happening. All right, Cass. Number 2 tonight, the Doc is in. This is also important.
This is also important. Darnell Nurse making his return, especially with Ekholm being sick and banged up and Kulak now being banged up and asking a lot of him. Who'd have thunk at this time last year, we probably still all would have been like, oh, Nurse isn't really doing much. But he has been so consistent this year in playing a steady game that they have absolutely missed him the last couple of games. Absolutely missed Darnell Nurse. But it's a big energy boost. Obviously, he's a leader in the dressing room. He's a guy that guys like. He's one of the vocal people in there. And I think they just missed having him. So takes some of the pressure off, especially with Ekholm and Kulak not being at 100%. To have Darnell Nurse step into this one, it's big because the reality, the cupboards they're not totally bare. You pick Dermott off of waivers again. But it's not like you have a ton of great options. If Ekholm's banged up and you're like, well, we don't really know what he's going to be able to give us. Kulak, we don't really know what he's going to be able to give us. And if Darnell Nurse was still out too, that's a hurting defensive unit and a hurting left side. But Darnell Nurse returns. Hopefully he steps in and just plays the same way he was playing pre-injury, where he just kept it simple. Like that has been the bread and butter of Darnell Nurse's game this year is don't do too much, play it simple, and he's done a really good job of it. So big night for him to step back in. I'm sure he's ready to go and excited. And for the Edmonton Oilers, it's a shot in the arm. It's a boost to get one of your top 4D back.
Darnell Nurse back in action, paired up with Ty Anderson, has missed the last couple of games after getting nicked up on that road trip. Natsito, did you want to add anything before we go to number 3 from Game Changers? I'll take that as a no.
No, I'm good. Great stuff, boys. All right. I'm just listening here.
I love that. Point number 1 was welcome home. Point number 2 of Game Changers, the dock is in. Point number 3 of Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate with our game analyst Matt Cassian, is Pickarding up the slack. Very nice podcast.
Yeah, you gotta keep up with Gene sometimes.
I like it.
Throw him in sometimes. Hey, I'm not surprised. We actually said, we talked about that, and I can't remember which one of you, if it was you, Tommy, or if it was you, Hernan, that either asked or made a statement about Pickard probably playing against Anaheim, going back to Skinner against Montreal, and then kind of seeing what happens. And whoever plays best maybe gets the game against Dallas on the weekend on Saturday. And that kind of looks like how it's shaping up. Pickard has a fantastic game against the Carolina Hurricanes, plays very, very well, comes up with a huge save on Sebastian Aho on a breakaway, and gets the starting net today. Now, it makes sense to me for a couple of reasons. First is that, Pickard played really well. He has played really well, so they're running with him a little bit here, and I'm fine with that. Second being, it does give you some time to string together practice time. It gives you time for Stuart Skinner to get work in, to not focus on starting games, but just focus on working on little things, getting comfortable, finding some structure to how he's around the net, and just getting that good practice time in, which I think is important. You don't always get stretches where you can do that in the regular season. And it's not like you could do that while they were on their break, because he was on a break. So I like the mindset of going with Pickard here against Anaheim. And really from Calvin Pickard, you want to see more of what we have seen, which again has just been that steady game for the most part. Not every game, but for the most part, he has been incredibly consistent and steady, and not otherworldly, but just kind of making the saves he's supposed to make. So another start for him against an Anaheim team that's not great. Yes, they at times have had some success this year, but the reality is this is not a great team, and not one that should challenge you too much offensively. So for Pickard, it's a business as usual backup, baby. Like, just make those simple saves. Don't make any big gaffes, and you should be okay.
I describe his style as a mutt. He just does whatever he can to make the save.
Kind of whatever.
Whatever. Yeah, exactly. A
pretty apt description.
To those that would wonder, does this mean Pickard's your number 1? You would tell them what?
No. So sorry again to Chief Andy. I probably disappointed you earlier. I'll disappoint you again. I know you're in the nasty chat. I know Ace is in the nasty chat somewhere too. And all you guys that just love shredding me on Skinner, which is totally fine. I welcome the criticism. We can disagree. It's okay. No. Pickard is not your starter, will not be your starter. But a guy is, having ups and downs in a year, having downs, where he's struggling, and Stuart Skinner needs to find his game again, needs to turn things around. It's okay to have your backup start a couple unscheduled starts, even though I would argue that this probably was a scheduled one, to allow them rest and the opportunity to work through things, because everybody does need practice time. Goalies, it's such a touch-based position where, if you're out of rhythm, it can be really hard to get back into that rhythm and to snap out of it. But sometimes being able to take a step back for a little bit and then re-engaging into game mode can be very, very helpful. And I think that's what they're doing here. So to all you who are like, oh, they're going to start Pickard and he's the starter now. No, he's not. Stuart Skinner is still your starter, but Pickard has given you the ability to make some decisions at times to say, hey, we need our starter to take a little bit of a breather, to grab some air, and to work on his game, which is what we're seeing tonight.
Pickard is 15-6, 261 GA, 901 save percentage. He has been a formidable backup goalie this year, and you're right. Like, Stu Skinner has he's had his struggles recently, but he did put together a really nice stretch. I think I don't know if there's a coincidence, and we bandied about with this idea that, like, after Team Canada was announced at the Four Nations or for the Four Nations, Hyman's game seemed to have gotten better. Skinner's game seemed to have gotten better. Bouchard, not really, obviously. And I'm not trying to slight him. He's struggled in his own zone and with turnovers and stuff like that. TV turns, Cass, as you like to point out. Offense is still there for him, but Skinner's game got really good for a nice stretch, and we talked about it. We reiterated it here, but and that brings me to this next thought, is that stretch where basically all of February, Edmonton has 2 wins in the month of February. They happen in overtime. They lose a bunch of games. Do you look at that as more as, teams go through cycles in a season, ebbs and flows, peaks and valleys, and that was Edmonton's valley? Or do you think there are some real fundamental issues with Edmonton's overall game?
Oh, I thought you were going to compare that to Skinner and say it was just a Skinner thing. So I was prepping an answer in my brain, and you threw me for a loop with a good question. I think there are ebbs and flows, and this was a flow and a poor flow, where there are always going to be dog days in a season. Like there's going to be times when a team struggles and it's hard to turn it around, where you have a couple games in a row or a month where you're not playing well. Now, there can be a variety of reasons with it. This one seemed to be set off by the fact that they had a break. Like, this team just isn't good. Start of seasons after a long break, all-star breaks, Four Nations break. Like, they are not a good team for whatever reason. I don't know why, coming out of breaks. And I think we saw that, where they just struggled, through the month of February as a whole, and particularly after the break, where they just couldn't get things going. Now, are they all the way out of that yet? We'll have to see, won't we? Now, Good point. They played a little bit better against Florida, still lose against a really good team. They play a much better game against a Carolina team that's been hit or miss recently, but they do play a much more solid team game, make less mistakes, less turnovers in the neutral zone, get some goaltending, and still win a hockey game, even though they gave us all a little bit of a scare in the third period with some of the play and giving guys like Sebastian breakaways. So the jury's still out, Tommy, and if we're still in that dog days. Now, you're hoping that win and coming back home is enough to get them through, where they can get back on track. I don't think that team that we saw is, that's not the normal Edmonton Oilers. That's them when they're struggling. And all teams do that. But the best ones find ways to work their way out of it and then to quickly reestablish their normal, which for the Edmonton Oilers, high-octane offense, team that is threatening on the power play. Their penalty kill is, aside from the start of the year and recently, was, for a long stretch, was really, really good. So getting back to being a good special teams team and playing fast with speed through the neutral zone, not turning pucks over, that's who they are, but we didn't see that for a little bit. So jury's out on if we're through this slump, but a slump it was, absolutely, without question.
100%. Edmonton, special teams wise, by the way, heading into action tonight. 7th on the power play, 25.5%. Pretty damn good. Obviously not as high as they were in the last couple of years, but it's still dangerous. It's had its issues. The PK comes into the game 26th in the league at 75%. 3 shorties scored. The Ducks, special teams, very poor. 31st on the power play at 12.6%, and then 28th on the PK at 73.8% with 1 short-handed goal scorer. Just to touch on that note about the special teams like Cass was talking about when he brought up the PK. It is Game Changers with our game analyst, Matt Cassian, Tom Gazzola, Hernan, Salas with you. You can text us, 780-218-9999. We've got a few more minutes with Cass. Nancy, so you want to jump in before I rattle off a couple of texts? I'm going to rattle off. You want me to go to text really quickly?
I was just going to ask, what kind of grade would you guys give this trade? It seems, for once, people are pretty happy with this trade. Not since the Ekholm trade, fellas, have fans been this excited, even though he's going to miss a few weeks here possibly. But you think the Oilers did some good work here? Would this be in the A's for you?
I give it a thumbs up. Cass?
Yeah, I give it a solid B because the injury we don't know yet. I'll give it a solid B. My initial thought is a solid B. Maybe I probably was a B plus.
Okay.
Until we were like, oh wait, he's actually not going to be playing yet, and we don't know exactly when he's going to be playing yet. That probably dropped it to a B to me. So it's still good. I think it was a positive move, a good move, but I'm not at A status yet. Not yet.
I'm curious if the Oilers, I didn't get an answer when I was asking a few people with the team about this. I'm curious if they find a way to keep him around, but we shall see. I'll give it a thumbs up. I'm not going to give it a grade via a letter. Cass,
cop out.
I know.
Cop
out. That's a total cop out. Yeah. Uncle Dave texting in says, Cass's shirt screams, "Goodis to the Oilers with salary retained."
That would be awesome. I'd take me some Gudis for sure.
That's a good ass idea.
Yeah.
Duffman says, with the injury to Frederic that is week to week, how does that impact the salary cap? Can he be put on LTR until playoffs if he doesn't play in the regular season? The answer is yes.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. He can be. And then here's another one, and it's a good one. No name. Oh, no, it's from Nick. Nick Texan says, guys, what are your thoughts on Jeff Skinner being scratched again? Cass, we'll start with you, and then we'll go to Nancy.
Oh, man. I mean, I'm happy Savoy's back in the lineup. I still just go like Kapanen has done nothing. He has done nothing. Why is he still in the lineup? And I know you're looking at it and it's going like, well, player in the bottom 6, we don't want to play Jeff Skinner in the bottom 6. That's the mindset.
Sure.
But even from the bottom 6, Skinner has found ways to be productive where Kapanen has not. So I still just don't like it, Tom. I don't like it right now. Obviously, we're not the coaching staff and we're not management, so we don't get to make that decision. But yeah, I'm happy Savoy is in. I don't think he deserved to be out of the lineup. He had been, especially when they're playing really poorly before the Carolina game, he had actually been pretty good. And I loved his speed and I loved some of the plays. He looked like he slotted in just fine there with Draisaitl. So I'm excited to see him again here. Hopefully, I think the thing with Savoy that I like for today potentially is we might potentially have a better Edmonton Oilers game. Like when everyone's clipping along at a better pace, and to see how he plays when the team as a whole is playing well, as opposed to, only a couple guys being there and everyone else being passengers. That's what I want to see tonight, or an interesting storyline for tonight. But yeah, Kapanen should be out. He should be out. Skinner should be in.
I agree, actually.
He's not.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, because Perry. And he's probably in trouble too. Well, not in trouble, because when Frederic's healthy, I mean, he's the odd man out.
Oh, Kapanen's out. Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, Skinner's just, doesn't matter what he does, guys. Even if he has a good game and is responsible defensively, it seems like he's always the odd man out here. And I know we're going to hear from Knobloch shortly, and he kind of touched on it and just said he's not kind of the player they're looking for in the bottom 6 ahead of this game, which I understand because he's not a bottom 6 football player, guys. But yeah, I don't get it. The Jeff Skinner signing on July 1st that brought everybody so much joy has not worked out. And I mean, enough blame to go around. It's on the player too, but I think the coaches as well. I don't think he's gotten a real look in the top 6, guys.
No, not really. All right, I got a couple more texts that I want to get to. Actually, a statement from Norman at Combine says, "Good evening, guys. Let's go Oilers. They need the 2 points. Can't lose to the Ducks. Have to play both Skinners, LOL." And then adds, "That is a nice shirt, Cass. Tracy, a.k.a. Sticky Rice, recovering from surgery last week, gives it 2 thumbs up." So you're getting a lot of positive reinforcement on the shirt, Cass, which is great. Kamloops J says, "Hey, guys, are you hearing the rumors that the Oilers are closing in on a trade for a D-man from New York? Seems to be the talk in Vanland." No, but I have been talking with David Pagnotta today during the show, and he said the Oilers still want to move Kane, and they still want to add a more impactful guy or two. They got their bottom 6 guy in Frederic. So, no, I haven't heard anything about that. Have you guys? What do you think? Have you heard anything? Or you?
No,
nope.
None of the top guys that break these kind of things have pretty much said anything.
No. And Pags is in the mix there, and he's pretty dialed in. He said he's had 1 million players texting him asking if their names are popping up in trade rumors, though, like current players.
I should text him too.
Text him. Ask if you're coming back.
Yeah.
Who wants me? Who needs you to fight Rempe?
I actually told Knobloch that once.
Did you?
When I bumped into him and Bill Scott, and I was like, "Hey guys, do you need someone to come take a suspension? Just give me a call." I don't think he found it funny. He'll laugh.
We would happily trade you to the Oilers temporarily if it means you help this fan base be happy.
Yeah. So let's go cross-check someone in the face and get suspended for life, and we're good.
Yeah.
Outside of that, he's a really nice guy. Really nice guy. Cass, any final thoughts heading into this one? If the Oilers lose, I know it's going to be all hell will break loose on the post-game show, but
yep. It's still fragile, and I wonder how fragile this team is mentally right now coming out of that trip. And again, you get that win against Carolina, but I'm a little bit nervous if Anaheim scores first tonight. What happens? That makes me a little nervous. So I'm excited to watch the game. I'm hoping this is them snapping out of that skid and able to now go back into the team that we saw kind of through December and through most of January that was playing really, really well. And, it looked like they were not comfortably in the lead in the Pacific, but like we're at top of the Pacific, kind of battling it out with Vegas for that top spot. And I want to see him get back to that. So I'm hopeful for tonight, but there's some uncertainty for sure.
Always something with this team. If it makes you feel any better, Cass, head to Oil Country. The Oilers have won 4 straight and 6 of the last 7 at home against Anaheim. And in the last 10 versus the Ducks, Edmonton is 8-2. So we'll leave you on that note. Cass, fantastic work as always, my friend. We'll see you on the post-game show.
Thanks, buddy. Sounds good.
There you go. There's our game analyst, Matt Cassian, with Game Changers, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting now with the agency. I kind of was losing my voice again. Like, I feel a lot better, but my voice isn't there. I had to hit a couple lozenges. I like to say it like this, the agency, but I don't have the resonance. Yeah, it's not there right now.
Yeah, interesting. And we were talking about it too on EST Afternoons. Like, let's just thinking out loud. They dropped this one tonight. It's an enormous step backward for this team. I just can't see it. You look at that lineup in Anaheim, and I know they're 6-3-1 in their last 10, Tom. So they are playing better. They got Trevor Zegras back, who's he's kind of dropped off a bit in these last 2 seasons. Now he hasn't been healthy, which is also fair to say, but his point total's not close to what he was doing his first 2 years. I do like their goalie, Dostal. I think he can steal one for them. So I'm intrigued, and it's going to be interesting to see if Pickard does win, Tom. What do you do? Because Gager's just all in on run Skinner, and he's taking a lot of heat, but he's fine with it. But I mean, if Pickard's great again tonight, what do you do? I mean, you're going to
play Skinner.
You're going to get Skinner.
You say, good job, backup goalie. Good job, backup goalie. You're the backup.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what you do. You go, good job, backup goalie. Now let our starter play. Because he needs to get better,
Hey,
too.
Tom, What did David mean by impact guy?
I can't read his mind, Carmen.
Well, a guy that will make an impact on the team.
I would assume he was talking about a defenseman.
Yeah. Well,
I'm trying to do a show and text with an insider. It's kind of tough.
When there's a certain gentleman in the Edmonton media, when he says something on his show, usually there's something to it. And he keeps going back to depth defenseman. That's not an impact player, Tom. So take that for what it's worth. But I mean, I'm saying it because it's generally coming from somewhere that's usually right.
No, it's not usually right. Okay. Sometimes it's completely off. But
people put a lot of stock into it, and
people do put a lot of stock into it.
I told Gager today, if you're going to go out and get another Stetcher, why even bother? Like it makes just roll with Stetcher, man, and Klimberg and whoever you got here. Like there's no point in bringing in a guy that's going to be a 5, 6, or 7. There is no point. You need a guy that's better than that. And hopefully they're able to do it. I mean, hey, when's the last time the Oilers were in a 3-way trade, Tom? It's been a while. People keep complaining about retention and get another team involved, and they finally did it. And they picked up a pretty damn good player, so they might have to do the same to get the defenseman they need.
Good point. I saw Maple Jed texting in. Kind of following up on that same theme, says the coach continuously chooses anyone except Skinner. That's a tell. There is more to Skinner sitting than we know. Do you guys think Bowman makes another move before Friday? To the question at the end there, yes. Yes, I do. I think they will add a defenseman. I think they're going to try to add a top 4. Again, if you want Evander Kane and you're one of the teams that's on his list that he would go to, they'd make that deal with you if it works.
And I also think, Tom, maybe you don't agree with me, but I think this is going to happen before Friday if they get the defense.
Kane?
Yeah. No, the defenseman.
Oh, the defenseman.
Yeah. I think they want to get business done before Friday. Get the player in early.
Maybe.
Get him up to speed. Get him in for the game Saturday, possibly, because it's 8:00, right, Tom? So I think they're going to jump the gun here a bit earlier than what the Friday 1 p.m. deadline is. So, I mean, we will never know. It might be a little bit harder, so it might take more time. But yeah, we'll see what happens here, man. There's a lot of balls in the air, and don't know which way they're going just yet, but no one expected this today.
No, it was good. They got ahead of it, so they managed to get a deal done, get in a bottom 6 guy. Hey, let's do something that we haven't done on the pregame show in a little while. Let's go to the Oilers locker room from this morning. Who was better? Who do you think, Henrique, or should we go to?
No, let's go to Coach.
Chris Knobloch. All right, we're going to run a little bit of Chris Knobloch here from earlier in the day as the Oilers get set to welcome in the Anaheim Ducks.
Are you ready to name a starter in terms of goaltending?
Yes, I am. Pix is our starter tonight.
Any other lineup changes?
We are just waiting on the defense. They're going to go out. I think everything's fine, so I think we'll be using our regular defense 6. And Savvy's going to be playing tonight. Skinner's going to come out.
Just a thought on the goaltenders. I know there'd been a rotation at a certain point, just sort of if this is outside what the rotation might normally have been, what you thought of Calvin's play lately and the goaltenders in general.
Yeah, I think both goaltenders have been playing really well. Pix has just really come up big, especially last game against Carolina. I think he's won his last 12 of his 14 starts, quality starts too, all but probably one of them. This is not a slight on Skinner. It's just a reward for our backup goalie who's been playing extremely well and being able to win games. So, so we felt that it was right that he got the start today.
Can you describe just the structure around Dineen coming up? Why did you bring him up? Is there any chance he plays? What do we think of this?
It's just we've got Kulak, who was sick yesterday. Nursey, who's expecting to come back. It was just insurance on if something wasn't available that we have that extra defenseman. But don't think will, as well as he's been playing in Bakersfield, I don't expect him to play tonight.
Okay. And sorry, and Skinner, you want to get Savoy in. I assume that bringing a kid up and keeping the press box doesn't make any sense. But you got to take someone out. Why do you land on Jeff Skinner?
I think it's more on identity, on fitting what our team needs, and Savoy had a couple good games, had some chances, adds a little speed to our lineup, which I think is important for our team. And you've got right now our third and fourth line more of an identity of maybe a checking role, fourth line more of an energy role. So it just felt that player, very similar type of players, but was savvy with what he provided in his couple of games that he played. Felt that if he is here, he should be playing, and I think he deserves that. And we're looking forward to see what he gives us tonight.
Chris, is it fair to say in your top three lines, this is only the second line that you're just kind of trying to figure out who's playing with Leon from game to game?
Yeah, a little bit. There's been some fluctuation, a lot more fluctuation than we'd like. I think, after the Tampa game, we wanted to more solidify roles, have guys in their chair. I think that's important. In January, there was a lot of line fluctuation because we wanted to give the guys opportunity to step up and play and see if there's some chemistry with other players. And there was a lot of up and down. And I think that I don't think it helped our team. I think it maybe caused some confusion on roles and what's expected of them. So now, moving forward, hopefully we have less line fluctuation. Absolutely, there's going to be some lineup changes, guys moving up and down a little bit, but certainly not the extent that we were doing in January. We're coming down to the latter half of the season. We feel that it's important that we have more of an identity of each role or each line.
Any update on Evander Kane since we talked yesterday? Any more updates? Any news from the team?
No, I have nothing. I have nothing for you, sorry, Ryan.
We'll ask it every day.
So, okay, if Savoy's playing,
Savoy's more information than I have.
Leon, who's playing on the other side then?
Arvidsson and Savvy will be playing. But Colson played last couple games. He's been playing on that fourth line, but he moves up certain situations. So yes.
Okay.
All righty.
I missed that little exchange earlier when Ryan and Chris, when he asked for the update on Kane, and then he goes, I might have to ask you. You guys might actually know more than me. And I don't think he was saying that as a slight. That might be a tell where things are at with Evander.
Huh. No bueno, man.
No, it's not. And we've been saying it for a while. People are, oh, that's BS, this and that. Guys, anyway, whatever. Good to get some clarification on Jeff Skinner. You talk about meeting an identity, and Skinner doesn't really see him as a bottom six type of guy. Obviously, there's a reluctance sometimes to put him into the top six. And I did like and was encouraged to hear that he wants to have some continuity with lines down the stretch. I think that might be a good thing. So
yeah, I'll believe that.
We'll see if he sticks to that. Exactly. All right. That's going to do it for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. That's it.
Oh.
That's it. Look at that. That was fun. What, you want to go for another hour?
No, I'm ready, man.
You're ready for the game. The puck's going to drop right away. Puck's going to drop right away. Dostal in goal for the Ducks. Calvin Pickard for the Oilers. The Edmonton Oilers play for the first time on home ice in almost a month. February 7th was the last home game. And happy birthday to Lloyd Michaels, father of Jack, an absolute beauty. Great guy, and wishing him a very happy birthday. Natsito, great show. We'll catch you on the post-game show. For Matt Cassian Yes, sir. And Hernan Salas, I'm Tom Gazzola saying thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll see you after the Oilers and the Ducks. Have a good one.